Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Rocco Falconeri has been quietly observing the dynamics around him, and it looks like he may finally be ready to shake things up in a way nobody expected. His connection to Britt Westbourne has always been complicated. She's not exactly the most stable influence, and yet Rocco seems to sense that her heart is not as cold as some in Port Charles believe. Over the past few months, there have been subtle moments, lingering glances, and exchanges that suggest Rocco knows Britt may hold more information than she lets on, especially when it comes to Nathan West. And now the possibility arises that Rocco could deliberately exploit this bond in order to dig deeper into a shady Nathan-related story that has remained hidden far too long. Rocco has lived in the shadow of adults making constant choices around him. As a child growing up in a household full of secrets, lies, and half-truths, he has developed an instinct for recognizing when something doesn't add up. He may be young, but soap kids tend to mature quickly, and in this case, Rocco's growing curiosity about Nathan has started to reach a boiling point. After overhearing fragments of conversations between Dante, Lulu, and others, he has pieced together that Nathan's legacy is more complicated than the happy memories usually shared. Something about the way Britt avoids going too deep into her history with Nathan sets off alarms for Rocco. And in typical Falconeri fashion, once he senses a mystery, he is not about to let it slide. Britt, of course, has her own vulnerabilities. For all her tough talk and manipulative streaks, she has always harbored deep feelings for her brother. Nathan's memory continues to haunt her, and it is clear she is conflicted whenever his name comes up. This is where Rocco sees his opening. By showing Britt moments of kindness, by positioning himself as someone who needs her attention, he begins to disarm her. She may view him as just a child, incapable of pulling off any sort of manipulation, but that's where she could be making her biggest mistake. Rocco is determined to play into her soft spot for family, using innocent questions and carefully timed comments to draw her out. And in doing so, he may stumble onto truths Britt never intended to reveal. The shady Nathan story that lurks beneath the surface is one that could reshape multiple connections in Port Charles. There are whispers that Nathan's history was never fully resolved. Some believe he had ties to criminal figures, others suspect that certain sacrifices were made to keep his image spotless. If Rocco unearths even a fraction of this, it could ignite a scandal that Britt desperately wants to avoid. She already carries the stigma of being Faison's daughter, and the last thing she needs is for Nathan's reputation to be dragged into questionable territory. But when a child is digging, the usual defenses don't always work. Rocco could slip past her guard in ways that no adult ever could. Imagine Rocco spending more time around Britt, not in obvious confrontations but through subtle persistence. He might casually ask about Nathan's favorite things, pretending it's for a school project or just childhood curiosity. At first, Britt may laugh it off, reminiscing with warmth, but as Rocco presses further, the questions begin to cut closer to secrets she has tried to bury. How much does she reveal before she catches on that Rocco is piecing the puzzle together? And even if she realizes what's happening, will her affection for the boy keep her from shutting him out completely? The tension here lies in Britt's emotional conflict. She wants to protect Nathan's memory, but she also doesn't want to hurt Rocco, who reminds her of the family bonds she's lost. The more Britt lets slip, the more dangerous the situation becomes. For Rocco, this is less about exposing Britt and more about satisfying his own growing need to know the truth. He's old enough now to understand that the adults in his life often shield him from painful realities. Yet he is also reaching the stage where he no longer accepts surface-level explanations. If Nathan was a hero, as everyone insists, why are there so many gaps in the story? Why does Britt's expression cloud over whenever his name comes up in certain contexts? These inconsistencies gnaw at Rocco, fueling his determination to find answers. In this sense, his quest mirrors that of Dante, who has often wrestled with questions of integrity, family legacy, and the impact of secrets kept too long. From a dramatic standpoint, this storyline opens up fertile ground for conflict. On one side, you have Rocco representing the new generation, unafraid to challenge the narratives handed down to him. On the other, Britt embodies the older generation still chained to the mistakes and manipulations of the past. Their interactions are not just about Nathan, They are about what it means to face uncomfortable truths, about whether loyalty to family requires silence, or whether real love demands honesty no matter the cost. The writers of General Hospital thrive on these layered dynamics, and a plot in which Rocco exploits Britt's bond could deliver exactly the kind of emotional intensity that keeps fans glued to their screens. Another angle to consider is how this revelation might ripple outward once Rocco learns too much. Suppose he stumbles onto evidence that Nathan was involved in something darker than the public believes. Maybe there were deals made behind closed doors. Perhaps Nathan made compromises that would shock those who idolize him. If Rocco brings these suspicions to Dante, it could ignite a clash between father and son. Dante may try to shield Rocco from the darker aspects of the truth, insisting that he leave it alone. But by then, Rocco's resolve could be unshakable. After all, once you've tasted the possibility of uncovering a family scandal, it's almost impossible to walk away. Britt, meanwhile, would be placed in a precarious position. If she realizes Rocco is dangerously close to unearthing what she knows, she faces a choice: continue lying and risk losing his trust, or confess and risk damaging Nathan's legacy. Neither option is safe, and both expose Britt's vulnerabilities. Her attempts to deflect may come across as suspicious, only heightening Rocco's curiosity. Worse still, if word gets out that she tried to manipulate or mislead a child, her already shaky reputation in Port Charles could collapse entirely. The stakes for her are incredibly high, and that's exactly what makes the potential storyline so deeper. His innocence becomes both his weapon and his shield. People often underestimate children, assuming they can't possibly understand complex truths. Yet history in soaps has shown us that kids often see what adults overlook. Their directness cuts through pretenses, and their persistence wears down even the toughest defenses. Rocco embodying this archetype while targeting Britt could be a fascinating twist, showing how even a young character can drive a major plot. His methods may not be devious in the traditional sense, but they are strategic in their own way, exploiting the cracks in Britt's emotional armor until the whole facade begins to crumble. If the writers choose to go down this path, they have a chance to reframe Rocco as more than just a background character. He could become central to uncovering truths that adults have long ignored. In doing so, he would also step into a more active role within the Falconary legacy, echoing Dante's own journey of wrestling with identity, morality, and family loyalty. Fans often clamor for the younger generation to be given more substance, and this would be the perfect opportunity to do just that. By tying Rocco to Britt and Nathan's unresolved history, the show ensures he is not simply reacting to events, but actively shaping them. One of the most compelling aspects of this possible storyline is the way it blurs the line between innocence and manipulation. Rocco isn't malicious, he's not out to destroy Britt. Instead, he is motivated by a desire for truth, yet in pursuing it, he engages in tactics that could be seen as exploitative. This moral ambiguity mirrors the kind of complexity General Hospital excels at delivering. Viewers would debate, is Rocco simply curious, or is he deliberately manipulating Britt's vulnerabilities? Does his youth excuse his behavior, or does it make it even more impactful? These questions spark conversation, and that conversation fuels the soap's relevance. The fallout from such revelations could reach far beyond Britt and Rocco. Imagine Maxie being pulled into the mix, forced to confront questions about the man she once loved. Or Liesl Albrecht, who would almost certainly have strong opinions about protecting Nathan's image while also defending Britt from backlash. Each character connected to Nathan could be drawn into the storm, creating intersecting conflicts that span multiple storylines. This kind of ripple effect is exactly what keeps a soap vibrant, tying individual arcs into the larger web of Port Charles drama. For Britt personally, the danger is not just external, it's internal. Her emotional attachment to Nathan, combined with her guilt over past actions, creates a psychological vulnerability that Rocco unintentionally exploits. She may begin questioning her own choices, wondering whether she has been protecting Nathan's memory for him or for herself. And if the truth comes out, she would be forced to reckon with her own complicity in perpetuating a false narrative. This could either destroy her or lead to redemption, depending on how she responds when the walls close in. The longer Rocco pursues this path, the more the balance of power shifts. Initially, Britt may view herself as the adult guiding a child, but as time passes, It becomes clear that Rocco is the one in control, orchestrating the direction of their conversations, subtly steering her toward confession. This role reversal adds another layer of tension, highlighting how vulnerable Britt has become and how determined Rocco is to uncover what lies beneath the polished surface of Nathan's story. In the end, the question remains, what exactly will Rocco uncover? Will he find evidence of betrayal, corruption, or hidden sacrifices Nathan made in the name of protecting those he loved? Or will the truth be more complicated, showing that Nathan was neither saint nor sinner, but a flawed man caught in impossible circumstances? Whatever the revelation, it promises to shake the foundations of multiple relationships and leave Port Charles reeling. What makes this potential arc especially exciting is that it offers something for every viewer: drama, suspense, emotional conflict, moral dilemmas, and a spotlight on characters who often linger in the background. By positioning Rocco as the driving force, the show not only revitalizes his character, but also re-examines Britt through a new lens. She is no longer just a schemer or a victim of her family's legacy. She becomes a woman wrestling with the cost of secrets, forced to confront the possibility that even the most well-intentioned lies eventually come to light. And as the story unfolds, fans will no doubt speculate on where it's heading. Will Rocco ultimately expose Britt, or will he develop compassion for her and choose to keep her secret? Will the truth about Nathan bring healing, or will it cause fresh wounds that threaten to unravel families all over again? These are the kinds of questions that keep audiences invested week after week, eager to see the next twist. Rocco exploiting Britt's bond to uncover a shady Nathan story isn't just about one mystery. It's about the ripple effect of truth, the danger of silence, and the unpredictable ways a child's curiosity can shift the entire balance of power in Port Charles. If this storyline plays out the way fans imagine, it could be one of the most memorable arcs in recent memory, proving once again that in General Hospital, secrets never stay buried forever. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all of your updates.